we all know the running back position. There's a huge drop-off once you get past really all the starters, guys that are in these 50-50 splits. It's really hard to find a guy, even in the double-digit rounds, even in like the 8th, 9th round, that makes sense for you as a guy that you would have any confidence in starting on a weekly basis in fantasy. So I'm intrigued to hear these running backs. These aren't going to be 13, 14, 15th round names, which we'll get to at the wide receiver position because that is a much deeper position. So running back for you, Alex, who you got?
I'll stick to the double-digit rounds with my running back. I'm going deep on this episode. I'm going with a guy who is currently going at the 10:01, so barely double-digit rounds.
He snuck in,
but it's Gus Edwards, the Gus Bus in Baltimore. And I look at Gus Edwards and I'm like, dang, like this dude is just a really good NFL running back when I look at the production he's put up so far in his career. But when I look at this Baltimore team and the signals that they're sending at the running back position, there's no reason not to like Edwards for 2021, especially at this value. First, I mean, he just got a nice 2-year, $10 million extension, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for the running back position, that's pretty significant because Gus Edwards is now the number 16 highest paid running back in the league, which is absolutely crazy.
Dang.
And I think that could signal more of a 1A, 1B situation in Baltimore than we want to admit. And Gus Edwards, to me, is one of those guys that know he doesn't have that top 5 upside, but he fits in that category of like being a high value handcuff that has standalone value, even if he is the backup. You think about a guy like Kareem Hunt last year, totally different skill set, totally different player, totally different value. But with Kareem Hunt, we were saying, dang, like Kareem Hunt is a high value handcuff. If something happens to Nick Chubb, which it did, Kareem Hunt's going to be the every week starter. He's going to see his volume go up and he's going to be a smash play. But if Nick Chubb is active, we could still spot start Kareem Hunt in our flex as an RB2, and he could deliver a really nice fantasy football performance. And that's exactly what we saw from Kareem Hunt. I think to a slightly lesser extent, that's what we have with Gus Edwards. As is, you know, he's a high-end backup to J.K. Dobbins. If something were to happen to J.K. Dobbins and running backs miss time here and there, they get a little bit banged up, Gus Edwards, if he had this backfield to himself, would be a smash play. But as is, even with J.K. Dobbins in the lineup, Gus Edwards is a guy you can spot start. Hope he gets, 50 yards and a touchdown and a catch or two in a game and gets you 15 points. And he can provide value on bye weeks if you have injuries, things like that. So Gus Edwards is a player I just really, really love. He has back-to-back-to-back seasons of 700 plus yards, which is pretty significant. Like, people don't realize just how good Gus Edwards has been. And since coming into the league in 2018, Gus Edwards is number 1 in yards per carry at the running back position with 5.2 yards per carry on 414 attempts. So this dude is efficient. He only needs 8 to 12 carries a game to give you that 50, 60 yards and touchdown upside. And we've seen this from Gus Edwards before. We've seen a glimpse into what he can be if he has this role to himself, if he was able to get that opportunity. We saw it in 2018. That was with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback spot and Gus as the lead back in their rookie season. Gus Edwards was running back 14 in half PPR from weeks 11 through 16 in his rookie year. He finally got that starting role. Nobody else was there. Lamar Jackson was coming into the role, taking over for Joe Flacco. And it was this Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards show. And as rookies, he was able to propel Gus Edwards to being the running back 16 in half PPR for the last 3 weeks of your regular season and for the fantasy football playoffs. So I think Gus is a perfect upside stash, in the double-digit rounds. He's not just a bench clogger. You think about some of the traditional handcuffs, and if they never end up getting an opportunity, like, they're just sitting on your bench and you're never going to use them. But with Gus, like I said, you do get to start him if you are desperate. And when I look at Baltimore, you also got Mark Ingram out of the picture. I know he wasn't very involved last season, but there's just even more clarity with this Baltimore backfield to me in 2021. It's going to be the J.K. Dobbins and the Gus Edwards show. And unfortunately, for people that invest in J.K. Dobbins this year, I think they're going to see a little bit more Gus Edwards on the field than they'd like to.
You got Dobbins going in the 3rd round of fantasy drafts. Why not wait 7 rounds and get Gus Edwards? Because I think you're right. This is going to be more of a 50-50 split than people realize. Is Gus Edwards ever going to catch a pass, even the limited volume that's there? Probably not. That's probably going to go to J.K. Dobbins. But the workload between the two isn't going to be that different. And like you said, Gus Edwards already proven that he's a good player over his production and the fact that he already got another contract extension. So I'm with you 100% on Gus Edwards. He's going to be a guy I think we're going to have a lot of shares of, especially in deeper leagues like 14-team leagues where there's a lot of keepers. And you're just trying to find as much depth as possible. Gus Edwards is going to be the perfect name. Think of like a Chase Edmonds last year where, look, even if he's not the standalone starter, he's definitely going to have that value. So I'm with you.